Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome. I decided to do a live stream today. I didn't do one yesterday. I had something to do with my daughter, so couldn't make it in the morning. And the market moved. There was some movement last week, especially into the close on Friday. So I want to kind of go through that and then just give everyone an opportunity to throw some stock picks that at me that they want me to look at. I'll also go through a couple of the short trades that I've been calling out for a while. We can take a look at the gold miners, see what's going on there, and then we'll wrap up. So we'll get started right away, and people will kind of trickle in. So again, if you guys are new and you haven't been on the live stream, this is really really this is meant for you guys. Throw a chart out, in the comments below. Give me a ticker symbol, something you want me to look at, and I'll look for the interesting setups. We often find some good trade ideas on this, on this live stream because, I can't look at everything. I scan the markets. I look for opportunities. Typically, I try to find them. My strategy is usually if there's a really bullish sector, I look at that sector and I start to look for signs of divergences. I look for signs that bullishness is breaking. And then I'll dig into individual stocks within that sector and find the ones that look the most bearish. And then it's really the inverse for anything bullish. I try to find the most bearish sector and I look for signs that selling is about to subside and we're about to reverse trend. And then I try to find the most bullish looking stocks. So, all right, so let's get right into it. I'll just start at the top. You guys leave a comment on anything you guys want me to look at. Don't short Apple now. Yeah, I'm not shorting Apple per se, but I did take a starter short on the triple Qs on Friday. We can kind of look at Apple and the triple Qs. Now, Apple and Microsoft are big players in the triple Qs and really just big players in the market in general. They're kind of the heavyweights, the linchpins of the market, I would say. Just when they move, the market moves. They're too heavily weighted. Apple here, what I've got on Apple, looking at the daily chart, we have negative divergence that's been building really since this former high right here. So each new high above this high right here has been a divergent high. So there's a divergent high right there. And you can see what happened. Divergent high, sold off. And from the high to the low, that was a 20% drop. New divergent high, and this is a much stronger divergent high where it's just trending higher. But we still have negative divergence. So you'll see here on the RSI, see how we're turning down, pointed down, creating that kind of that peak. It's a lower peak than before, so that's negative divergence. The PPO has not fully turned down yet. It is, a lot lower than the former high, but we haven't turned down. We're starting to turn down. So you get that bearish crossover. That would be confirmation on that. We don't have that confirmation yet on the PPO. On the daily chart, we have a trend line right here, and it shows a little better on the hourly short-term trend line, and we just broke it on Friday. So in general, that looks pretty bearish. Looks like Apple's going to come in a little bit. Where would I target? You obviously have the former highs, so they might try to hold it here. Somewhere probably right up in there at about 144.50. But if they can't hold that, then I would look down here at 138, 138.42. And then I would look at this longer term upward trend line right there. And this is where I think it'll go. But you have an upward trend line right there on the daily. So coming down, hit that. Now a break of that, that's, there's more things happening if we break that. So first things first, we'll just watch those levels. That's Apple. Now, Qs, I took a short, which in essence is taking a short on Apple. And because it's, Apple and Microsoft make up a big percentage of this. And Qs broke the bearish rising wedge pattern. So look, here's your March 2020 lows on the daily chart. This trend line right here, we've been walking up. And I keep all my horizontal levels because on the downside, I want to see how those, I'm expecting reactions on those levels. But here's the trend line. And look, we got a sell signal on tech back here, but then, and this is back in May. So then months of, a secondary trend. Now maybe you didn't want to ride that out. I didn't ride this thing out short or anything, but I was looking for another opportunity to short up here, and I have it circled, so let me get rid of this. But I kept talking about the fact that I think we're going to run up into a back test of this trend line, this red trend line from the March 2020 lows. And we actually did get one right there. There's your only back test, your full back test right there, tagging that trend line, and we haven't touched it since. Now, the secondary trend that we've created is right here, and it shows better on the hourly. All these reactions, 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 reactions of that trend line, and this could be tightened up right there like that. 4, and then we broke. So there's your break. It did a back test here. They gapped it up and made it look like it was going to recover, but it impulsively rejected. So that's a pretty good tell, I think. This candle, the fact that at one point in the day it was trading up here, back within trend, everything looked great, sold off it, and that was at the open basically. But it sold off, and we got, we closed down here, and we're just, continuing to reject on these hourly candlesticks. So to me, it looks like we're going lower in the Qs. First level of support, 355.30. And then, but I suspect we're going to break that. I don't think we're going to have just, hold at this first level of support. I suspect we're going to head lower. I'd watch these former highs too. We need to mark these out. Previous highs are usually reaction points. So I would say we're going to at least at a minimum come down to 342.60. So we'll watch that for right now. Could be a lot more. We don't know. But we'll watch how the market starts to shape up as it heads lower. Or even if it heads lower. Monday we could wake up to a big gap up. You never know. All right, so that's Qs, and that's really Apple. Moving on, silver miners, ag. Okay, we can look at that. I don't trade the silver miners a lot. They're real choppy, so I prefer to trade the gold miners. They're a little more consistent when charting. This was that Wall Street bets pump right there. So let's see here. There was some support that I had, former support right there, 1448. We got above it, it held it, but it broke. That gave way. You can see when it broke, did backtest it a little bit, but it wasn't able to hold Friday. That's a pretty impulsive breakdown. So we'll look for, see this one doesn't chart super well for the horizontal trend line. I've got some former support marked out right in this area, right there. You can see that's a support zone. So I think we're at that right now. We're at support right in this area. So look for that to hold, or at least look for a reaction off this. Looking at the daily, no bullish divergence on the RSI and no real bullish divergence on the PPO. So what I suspect is going to happen, if it's going to hold this support zone, which there's no saying that it's going to, but what I suspect they'll do is they're going to bounce it here, then it's going to roll over and make a slightly new lower lows, and then it'll put in bullish divergence. Look for that bullish divergence to start to show up. All right, and until that shows up, I just wouldn't be that confident in this thing. Let's look at the hourly real quick just to see if we have anything showing up on the hourly. Yeah, see no bullish divergence there on the hourly RSI. And it is, we do have a bullish divergence on the PPO. It's not confirmed though. So you'll see here we're made a new lower low in price, but a higher low in momentum. See how it's not as low as the previous low, but it's pointed straight down. So no confirmation. You want to see this turn up to confirm that. So maybe we'll start to put in those bullish divergences and start to hold. That's what you want to look for. Otherwise, down it goes. I don't see anything telling me it's not going to stop going down in right now. But it is at some good support right there. That's some good major support right in this area. So we'll see. That's what I got. Roku, huh? All right, let's look at Roku. Maybe a bull flag. It's possible, but what you're probably saying is here's your flagpole, and then this is your flag. I assume that's what you're. Or maybe you're looking at the smaller time frame. See, I always look at the bigger time frame, the bigger pattern first, to try to see. The bigger pattern is going to have more influence than the short-term pattern. Maybe you're seeing this right here, flag, and then here's your flag. Yeah, possibly. It's possible, but I see an upward trend. It started back in the March 2020 lows right here. And I see a broken trend. There's your sell signal. It had negative divergence at this time. Backtest 1, sold off, you know, could go higher, could go lower. I don't know. I don't have a firm feeling on this one. Maybe it wants to run up and do another full backtest. If the market's going to roll over, I suspect this will roll over, probably even more. It's a momentum name. So watch the cues, watch the market leaders. That'll likely be your tell. So there's some support here on Roku at 381.56. Or it could be I might be slightly off. Maybe move that up. It could be right about there. 380. Sorry, about 388. So anywhere within there. I'm not trading this one. All right, moving on. What else do you guys got? Snow. All right. Well, that's that cloud one, right? And Snowflake, yeah. They're pretty new, so I'll take a look. Again, you know, when a stock's pretty new and you don't have a lot of history, it's hard to give any kind of longer term swing trade. Let's see if we can see how this thing trades out. So there's a downtrend. You got the high, 1 reaction, 2 reaction. Okay, so down here, I suspect you had bullish divergence. See that right there? There it is. So see how that divergence was building for a while, you know, all through here. Well, the divergence showed up when you made the new low right here. So this was your bullish divergence. This was your indication that, okay, trend reversal is likely, not guaranteed, but likely. So then you had a major trend here, and you could probably even have marked out a minor trend on the hourly, you know, maybe something like this. But I would have waited for the major trend to break, personally. And it did. And there's a buy signal right there. See that big impulsive rip higher? Right before earnings, too. But still, that was a breakout. That was your buy signal. And uptrending ever since, basically. Something like this, possibly. It's hard to say. You know, I don't have a lot of data, so I can't say this is a trend line. I'm just trying to find a trend line. But I only have two data points. So not, you know, I can't validate that as a trend line, so I'll just get rid of it. Maybe this off the lows, you know, maybe that's it. Coming off the lows right there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we could maybe go with that. We'll see how that plays out. I see it, you know, it has been bullish. Let's narrow it down and see what we got going recently. So there's some negative divergence. Let's confirm that. Yeah, so we do have negative divergence now on the daily. This is your divergent high right here. So would I want to go long here? Not necessarily, just with that negative divergence. It's not. Oh yeah, what's this right here? There's the PPO. Yeah, that one I don't like that for the negative divergence. So negative divergence on the RSI, not really on the PPO. Mixed signals. So you know. I don't know, to be honest. I wouldn't trade it. It's not. I'd rather buy this. You know, I'd rather buy the breakout right here. This is where I'm comfortable buying it. When you have bullish divergence and you get the breakout, this is where I want to buy it. Up here, now that we have negative divergence and we're uptrending, I think if you're long, maybe just stay long, and if you get the breakdown, bail. Otherwise, you could probably just stay long. That's likely how I trade it. Maybe tighten your stops. Okay, moving on. What's FC? Is that a future? Is that the what's FC? Is that a future? Thank you guys. Thanks for those super chats. Appreciate that. I'll get to your picks here in a second. I guess Franklin Covey, is that what you want me to look at? What do these guys do? Commercial services? Okay. So this one, it's probably coming off this gap right here. I'd say that is your trend line. They're building this trend off this gap. Short-term trend line at least. Each new high, this has been a big negative divergence here on the PPO and the RSI. We haven't been able to, reproduce the momentum that it got right back here. So divergent high, this is all divergence, this is divergence. So lots of divergent highs. That's usually, and that's, again, this is just an example of why negative divergence is not a reason just to short, right? Because you have negative divergence on this one. It's been building for a while, but it's not a reason to just like short something. What I'd wait for is a break of this trendline support. That's the way I'd want to trade it now that I've seen it. I'm not in this thing. I mean, if down here, maybe you go long, but now that it's run pretty good and it's pretty extended and it's continuing to extend negative divergence, I'd be looking for a short trade because, I'm looking to fade this move. And so I'd look for a break of this trendline support. I don't know where it'll break on this daily chart. So, right now, maybe 33 or something like that. Until it breaks, it's uptrending. All right, let's look at CLDG from Pradeep. Thanks for that super chat. CLDG. I don't know what this one is. Did I get that right? What? You're gonna have to tell me what's the name of this stock? CLDG. It's not pulling it up here. Wait, is this it? Counter month futures? Let me know if that's crude. What? WTI versus Brent? Okay. Not exactly sure what we're trying to do. Yeah, this one doesn't come up. You'll have to comment on that one, Pradeep. I'm not exactly sure what you want me to look at on GLDG. Sorry, I got that wrong. GLDG. All right, gold mining. Sorry, we're sipping the coffee as we're doing this. Okay, gold mining. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay. Clear downtrend. Pretty clear. We got 3 reactions. 1, 2, 3. So that need at least 3 to create a trend line. You can't, the more the better, but at least 3 at a minimum. Don't know what we have going on here. Looks like it's doing something like that. Bullish falling wedge potential. Potential bullish falling wedge. So that would tell me that we're likely building some bullish divergence. Doesn't mean we are, but let's take a look. I got to tighten it up on this. Here's the RSI. It actually made let me get rid of this real quick. This low right here, slightly higher. Not much, but slightly higher than that former low. So, and so we can say that's bullish divergence because you really need just a higher low or an equal low with higher price, basically, to give you that divergence. And then here's the PPO. So clear bullish divergence on that one. See how we're just, uptrending while price is continuing to grind lower. That's bullish divergence. Looks like a bullish falling wedge. So what I would say, it looks bullish in general. If you wanted to be conservative, maybe you wait for the breakout of the bullish falling wedge. Maybe this grinds some more and then boom, you get the breakout. That might be, how you want to play that. Another way to play it is to buy on support, which is basically down. It looks like it's right down here. You know, maybe add to what I like to do on these when I have bullish divergence and the sector looks bullish and other miners look bullish. I like to cross compare it. Then I'll start building positions along the support line, and I don't buy it all at once. I'll like add a little, and then it'll continue to grind. I'll add some. I'll add, and then by the time it starts to work its way up here, I won't add any. But then if you get the breakout, maybe I'll add some more, and that's how I play it. And then at that moment, I'll usually have a full-size position, and I'll just, then at that moment, I'll let this thing run, and I'll either add on pullbacks as long as it looks bullish and we look like we're uptrending. When it pulls back, I'll add. When it pulls back to support. So that's how this one, in general, looks bullish. Looks like you got a longer-term trend line right about there. There's your major trend line, it looks like. Kind of your bull market trend line. So who knows? Maybe you get another tag of that down the road. You know, I don't know. Maybe this wants to grind and grind and grind and then hit that and then go. It's hard to say. All right, so that's what I got. Some of these other miners, like I'm long some of these other miners. They're kind of working out. They're holding their support zone. They haven't made their move bullish yet, so I'm not, some of them are profitable. Some are kind of hanging out, just kind of hanging in there, not moving, but not really falling. So that's okay. Still looks like they're just building support, and that's the point. When you go long, you want to go long something where it's building support, where the probability of going a lot lower is really reduced, and the probability of going higher, because the buyers are in there attacking it and buying, the probability of going higher is good. So that's where I feel a lot of these miners are at. Let's flip over to these miners real quick, and then we'll get Jonathan. I'll get to you next. Appreciate that. These miners. So this is gold bullion. Again, here's your bullish trend in gold bullion. Doesn't mean the miners are done selling off, because they can sometimes march to their own beat. But in general, they're going to follow the metal. But this is the metal. And we just hit support right here. Again, we were at support right down here too. So hit support, rallied off of it, came back down, hit support, rallying. So, it looks like we're uptrending. Higher lows. Here, look, you've got low. And this is going all the way back to 2018, but low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So I'm looking for a move up here over time. It's going to take time, months or whatever. Bull markets don't just explode higher. I think a lot of new traders or people that over this last year want to see things just go parabolic straight up. That's fine for momentum, but that's something that you're going to just get in and get out. A bull market is something that climbs the wall of worry, and so it grinds higher. Just grinds higher day in and day out, moving slightly higher, and then you'll have pullbacks along the way, but it's going to grind higher, and that's what you're looking for a sustainable bull market. Parabolic moves are not sustainable. I actually did short this AMC move down. I didn't put it out on the channel. It's just too high risk, and I took a pretty small position. But again, things that go parabolic, come crashing down too. All right, so Jonathan, what do you got? Citigroup. Okay, you like it on the fundamentals. Okay, that's fine. Good entry point. I was just looking at Citigroup right before this live stream. I was looking at these financials. Citigroup had so that's a good size move down. Take the log scaling off. Again, I look at log scaling and, that's just like straight down. I mean, that's pretty impulsive. I don't see... Let me look and let me just kind of narrow this down. I think financials have another leg down. That's my gut feeling. Just some of these other financials look like they have another leg down. So I don't know if I'd be wanting to jump into Citigroup right yet. You have some support right here at 6207. See the reactions we got along that reaction here. There's a reaction, big gap down right along that reaction. Let me zoom into that gap just to show you. See how it hit it as support, bounced, came back the next day, tried to hold it, but still closed below. And then the following day, big gap down. Then we hit it as resistance right there. So we're coming into that. And then look, another gap around that. For some reason, this stock likes that level as just, it's a pivot level. So I suspect we're at least going to come down to there. 62. It's about 62 on that one. Let's look at the momentum and see what we got going on here. Okay, let's see here. So the RSI is starting to build some bullish divergence. You see that right there? There's some bullish divergence. So let's get rid of this one, this negative divergence that we clocked in the past. So we're starting to build some bullish divergence. That is a divergent low right here, just one, and then maybe we go lower and continue to build that bullish divergence. Again, bullish divergence is not a reason to go long, just as bearish divergence is not a reason to go short. What this looks like to me is a flag, a bear flag. So you got the flagpole. You're creating this flag. It's kind of a pennant, but this can break to the downside. So I don't know. I think we got another move down. What I would do is track, there's just no reason to go long right here, is what I'm trying to say. Down at 62 is the area I would be more interested in going long, especially if you had this continuation of this bullish divergence and you fall down to here and hit that. That's the area, the buy zone, that I'd be more interested in if everything, if the chart looks the same and it has bullish divergences down there. And you'll want to watch XLF too, because that's your financials in general. I don't think this financial selling is finished. Right, you had a good uptrend in the financials coming off. This one really came off the October 20 area. This upward channel. Here's your March 2020 lows, but we just broke trend right here, and I don't see anything bullish telling me that this is over. Look at the RSI here. See how it's bullish momentum in the short term. See how we're trending up, but look at price, bullish price as well, right there. You made you didn't make a lower low in price. You made a higher move in price with higher momentum. That is, to me, when I see that, that's not divergence. Price is not diverging from momentum. So all this looks like to me is a counter trend bounce. Your trend is down, you bounce, and then you roll over. All right, there's no divergence indicating a trend reversal. It's just it's just a bullish. You're going to have bullish bounces within a downtrend. That's all right. So I think lower in financials, and I probably would say lower in city as well. Some support down here if you get down here, 31.63 or so. All right, moving on, guys. Let me go back up to the top and see what else we got. Let's see, DocuSign. See the negative divergence? That's confirmed. So you have negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI. This is a divergent high. I've talked about this probably last Saturday. This is a divergent high. It doesn't mean it has to fail here, but it is a divergent high. So it has a higher probability of failing and going lower. See if we can spot a trend line to watch on this one. Yeah, it's not good right there. Maybe we could mark that out. Maybe it wants to sell down and hit that. Let's go to the hourly. Yeah, kind of broke this and drifted sideways. Not really my favorite there. So what I would say is it looks like it's getting rejected. Here's your former high right there. And look what they did. They popped it above, but kept selling into it. Here on this daily, popped above, sold in. Selling down is kind of holding that resistance. Watch your large cap tech on that one. I don't think I'd want to be long this. I definitely wouldn't be going long with a new long. With this negative divergence now confirming, I suspect we're going to go lower. Okay, what else do we have, guys? All right, I'm just kind of looking through here. Yeah, PayPal, that one looks kind of interesting. I looked at that one last week. that one's got some negative divergence, I believe. I was looking at that. So here's PayPal, negative divergence. We have that remains. So there's your last divergent high. And then recently, this is what was interesting to me actually. We made a new high right there on that candle, slightly new high with much less momentum. And see the PPO starting to turn down. So just confirm negative divergence, basically a new divergent high. And then what I had on the daily chart, so here's your trend line that I was watching, and you can see we just broke it right there on Friday. Not super impulsive of a breakdown. Usually you want to see a little more impulsive, but still it is a breakdown. So Monday, I suspect, unless they're going to try to pull a bear trap, and if you're not familiar with what that is they break it down, everything is set up bearish, you have a negative divergence, you have a break of trend, and then Monday they'll gap it up right up to here and then try to ramp it. If they don't do that, then I suspect we're going lower, you know. Watch the former highs on that one as a reaction point. Not these highs, but probably, yeah, I don't know. I think lower. The big gap down here to fill too. Not a lot of support right in this area. Maybe you get a quick little maybe you get a reaction, a basic reaction right about there. You can see we had some gaps here. We held resistance. And then we were here, we kind of impulsively ramped above it. So I'd look at that level as your first level of support, 276.23. A break below that, and you know, we got a good support level down here. Does this extend out? No. But we held that support a lot for a couple times. So 225.60. We break that, we've got some levels down below, but I'll just keep an eye on it. That's a ways down there, so we don't need to go into any other levels for right now. All right, what else do you guys have that's interesting? Trying to find some setups here. Let me point out the setup that I saw last week that these look at. So this is a setup, not an actionable trade, but I had a subscriber ask me about Alcoa. They just reported earnings. So earnings is out of the way, so we don't have to worry about that earnings risk. You have an uptrend line coming off March 2020 lows, kind of a channel, an upward channel, really. It's really right about there. So an upward channel in this Alcoa. They do steel, I believe. But we have negative divergence. So clean negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. Both of those are diverging lower. So there's your last divergent high. We're looking for a break of this area. This is good support. Right in here, you obviously have this trend line support. And then you have horizontal support, which looks about 31.68. So I'd want to see an impulsive break of that level. So maybe we bounce, then break, and bounce. I don't know. But I'd want to look for a break of this one, this 31.68 level. I'd want to see an impulsive break of that. That would be your sell signal. And then you're going to likely get down to 25.13. Yeah, so that's it on that one. Nothing crazy, but I just want to point that out as an option or an opportunity. That's a 20% drop, though, just from that move. There. Again, it doesn't look like much on my chart because I use log scaling. So it kind of can be deceiving for, you see this huge upside and then you see the downside and it doesn't look like much, but it's still, 20% drop because of log scaling. So that's setup. It's not an actionable trade. I'm not going to short this until I see certain things happen, but there is a setup there. Blackrock. This one broke on Friday. Not my favorite impulsive breakdown that I'd look for, but this is coming off March 2020 lows. I think this is another banking financial services company, basically. And they're like a hedge fund. They buy houses and stuff like that. But here's your March 2020 lows. You got the uptrend line here. Up here at the highs, divergent high, divergent high, divergent high. So we have negative divergence. This is another way to look at this would be like a bearish rising wedge kind of pattern. Maybe something like that. Bearish rising wedge, with divergence. And there's your break. We just broke the trend. You know, it broke on Thursday and closed right at it. It was too close to call as a sell signal. And then Friday it broke as well. Now, it closed below, so that is a sell signal. It's just not that impulsive. I would have liked to see it only, sold down 0.5%. I would have liked to see it, maybe down 2 or 3%. We didn't get that. So what I did on this one, I'd have to look. I think I took a starter short with the full understanding that they could, this could just be a false breakdown and they could rally it back up for another push up and then break. But it is a breakdown, so maybe if we gap down on Monday, then that, if it gaps down and especially if it gaps down and just gapping crap is what they call it, but if it gaps down and sells off, then that would definitely be a sell signal. So look for that. That's Blackrock. I got some support right down here at 791, we'll call it. And that's a move of right now of about 10%. So I like that for the kind of the first move. You get a 10% downdraft, then we'll probably get a rally. And then we could continue lower, of course. We'll have to watch. Okay, there's the setup. And then this American Eagle, it actually broke. And you had a sell signal on Friday as well. So here's your uptrend line on AEO. Clear uptrend line on the daily chart, divergent high. So there's your negative divergence. See the PPO, how it's just downtrending right there. See how it's dropping off, and you keep making higher highs. These can be deceiving to people that don't really know what to look for. They just see, all they see is higher highs, high prices moving up. A lot of people that don't really use charts, they just look at line charts and they say, oh, price is moving up, I'm happy. And then when price is moving down, they go to CNBC and say, tell me why I lost money. Well, that doesn't do you any good. That doesn't give you actionable information to take action. So what those people use to take action is their emotions. When it sells off even more, they panic and they sell. And when things go higher, they get greedy and they stay in it and they don't know when to exit. We don't want to use our emotions. We want to use our charts. And so basically, there's your sell signal. We broke trend on Friday, down 2.5%. I think that's good enough for a sell signal. Obviously, whenever you get those sell signals right away, we do want to watch for bear traps. Those happen. They show up sometimes. So there's always the possibility that Monday gaps up and we're up here again and they trap. You got to bail on your short trade if you see that bear trap. But sometimes what they'll do on Monday, or let's say they do this, they gap it up right up here. Give it a little wiggle room because sometimes you'll see they'll gap it up and boom, they'll sell it straight down. That is your tell if we see that. That's a very obvious tell that, okay, the sellers are here. We're basically, we're in, we're trading with the institutions and selling. So those are things to watch. But, if you gap down, that's good. That confirms. So we're looking for confirmation of more selling from right here. I did take a short on this one on Friday. And again, that's just how I look to trade it. So you gap up. If you gap and can hold, that's not good. You want to bail, I think. You gap up and sell down pretty impulsively. That's just confirmation. I just stick with the short trade. Or if you gap down and just continue to sell, that's more confirmation. First level support 30.63. Next level support 26. I like this one a lot. This one looks good to me for a short. Okay, guys, what else do you guys got? I'll just kind of scroll through here. Yeah, Jonathan, on Citigroup, that area would be the area I'd be more interested in buying, around that 63 area, because that is your support. Again, I'd want to see that bullish divergence. That would help confirm. Another thing to look for is sometimes you'll want to see just a brief dip below that support and then look for the recovery. So sometimes they'll break it below and then they'll recover it. That's a really good sign. If you see that recovery, that's a bear trap, and that's usually the best opportunity to jump in with the least amount of risk. So those are things I would all look for. I'll keep an eye on it. I have it up on my financials watch list, so I'm glancing at it, often. Okay. JKS. Let's look at that one. What do we have in JKS? Let's see here. Well, we have an uptrend. I can't really make that one. That's not clean enough. How's this one look? Yeah. I can't make an uptrend that I would feel confident in trading off of. Although it is clearly uptrending. You know, you're making higher highs and higher lows. You only have 2 data points right there. I can't make that as a trend. That looks like a downtrend. 1, 2, 3, and a breakout. Did we have any bullish divergence? Yes. Let's look. So there is some bullish divergence on the RSI. And it's there on the PPO as well. I can tell there. So looks like a breakout. Looks bullish. That's how I'd trade that. I would trade it bullish. You know, so that's your breakout. This would be your buy signal. We're probably, you know, starting some sort of an uptrend like that. Although you only have 2 data points. I wouldn't trade that because there's always the potential on this to come back in for a back test. And you do see that a lot. You know, you'll see, let me extend this out. What you'll see is they break it and then they'll come back in for a back test. Boom, and hit that. So if you see that, that would likely be the buy zone. You know, that's where I'd be interested in going long that down there. I'm either interested in buying on back test of support or on the initial breakout right here. Okay, so you can take starter positions and then add to it. That's how I like to do it. So it looks bullish though. All right, moving on. At Sundial, well, that's a momentum, you know, thing. Whenever you're gonna get into that, you know, likely you heard about it because you bought it because a lot of people buy this stuff because it's exploding higher, and you know. People get involved in these things when they're doing this kind of stuff, and that is the wrong time to be buying unless you're really fast on your feet. You're a day trader, you know, you're taking large positions, letting the momentum run, and you're bailing on it. But a lot of the time what happens is people will buy into the momentum and then it'll go against them and they'll be into losses, and then they just can't stand to take those losses. You know, the thing is you got to get used to taking losses. It's part of trading. So that's a skill that, you know, you got to get over that emotional hump of being able to take losses. It'll get you out of trades, losing trades faster, allowing you to keep more of your capital to apply to the winning trades. So that is just, you know, how you have to do that. Sundial, let's look. I mean, because this is just randomly gonna explode higher or drop. You know, it's a momentum name. It doesn't always trade clean to the charts. I can't make a trend here that I would want to you know, rely on. The only thing I can see on this one is you did have bullish divergence right down here. That's a divergent low, and I can see it right there. If I can mark it out right there. See that? See how the momentum was moving higher? So that low was a divergent low. So that's where I'd be looking at wanting to go long. But I wouldn't just go long right there. I'd go long on the bullish breakout of this downtrend line, which is right about here. Now I know this is all hindsight. What's done is done. So, but this is again things I look for. Up here at this high, you did not have negative. I don't see bearish divergence up here. So I don't know. Could be still uptrending. You know, I don't have negative divergence telling me that this uptrend that was started is finished. So I don't, you know, maybe it's doing this and rounding bottom or something. Not really my cup of tea. So I can't give any kind of trade opinion on this one that I would be willing to put my own money on. And a lot of the trade ideas that I point out, I put my own money on. So, yeah. Moving on. Yeah, volatility. Let's look at that. So the VIX. So tech broke on Friday, and so I am expecting a spike in volatility. Maybe we don't get it on Monday, but maybe sometime next week. The VIX here has the main thing about the VIX, it's choppy, it can grind around, but you can see here, look at the RSI, I'll expand that. It's bullish. See the momentum? It's just we've been moving higher in momentum. And see the PPO higher in momentum. So and then we've been making slightly lower lows in the VIX. So that's bullish divergence. So that tells me we're going to likely reverse trend. Some resistance here at 22.12. So I'd look for a breakout of that. We break out of that, we got another level right up about here. And this is rough levels. The VIX is volatility, so it will spike and chop around. So breakouts, but if we got up to here 38, 68, I think we're going to get a spike up to 40, at least in the 40 range, I think would make sense. So I'd probably take profit, up around here. We're not likely not going to get back up here. That was a rare occurrence there on the VIX, but a spike up into like this area, 38, 37, 40. I like it. And I don't own any volatility yet, but I did start to short the Qs on Friday. I took a starter short position. I'll add to it if I get, more confirmation. Again, and I don't load up on the VIX either. This is just what I do. I take larger positions short, maybe an indice or individual stocks. The VIX is like the icing on the cake. So I'll have some VIX. And if I get you don't need a lot to make a lot in the VIX. It'll spike. That thing can double, triple pretty easily. So it can do that either way, right? You can lose a lot too. So I just keep my position small, and then usually the VIX will spike first, and then the short, like a big triple Q short, might continue to work, and the VIX will start falling. But you'll get that initial spike in the VIX, and I take my profit on the VIX, even though I'll keep my short position on. I'll take that profit on the VIX right off the top. That's how I trade it. Yeah, I did it on Sunday, guys, because I didn't do one Saturday, and I just wanted to point out a couple things. I was busy Saturday, so I just decided to do it today. I had some time. Okay, moving on. What else do we want to look at that's interesting? I was kind of scrolling through here. Yeah, Baba looks weak. Snap looks weak. Snap's been pretty strong though. I shorted that one and I had to bail on it, so took a small loss on that short, I believe. And I'm not short it right now, so it did make let's see here. It did make a new, well, it actually didn't quite get there, but pretty close, almost a new divergent high. I like the financials short right now, and I like the industrials. Those look really good. Let me point that out real quick. Like this one, LPX. I've been stalking this one for a while, but here's your uptrend line. So I've been talking about this, I think probably all through here. I was kind of looking at it, just pointing it out. It was of interest. Nothing to short. But then we had negative divergence building right up here, and then we broke trend right there. So I shorted it right here. Here's my short, and it worked right away. And then it kind of goes against you a little bit, chops around, keeps you guessing. Clearly working now. Down almost 5% on Friday. Without, I don't see any support till we hit about 49.21 as the next level of support. And there's the potential to go a lot lower. Excuse me. We got some major support down here at 34. So, we could be on our way down to 34 trending. I like it. I'm short that, and it's working really well. So that's an industrial, and there's some others that are this one, Emerson. It's flagging, but it looks like it's about to break. We just made a new divergent high. Let me grab that. That was a divergent high. And you can see how we're just extending the negative divergence. So Nothing's technically broken. We're below the major uptrend with a new divergent high kind of flagging out. I suspect very soon we're going to get some sort of impulsive breakdown. So there's a trade idea. You know, if you haven't shorted this one, it's not necessarily a reason to short now, but maybe you break. And this flag is, you know, here's your flag. I just go to the hourly and maybe look at a break of that hourly. Impulsive breakdown, that'd be your next sell signal. And if we break, you know, I've got some support all the way down here at 87.20. Then I've got some support here at 83.30. Big gap to fill down here at 72. So I suspect if we're going to make a meaningful downtrend, we might get down there. Amazon. And just a few more, and then I'm going to wrap up, guys. So things to watch on Amazon. I'm looking for a bull trap. We don't have it yet. It's not there. But let me point out what I see here on this chart. So Amazon, here's the PPO. Clear negative divergence. Obvious. See how this is turning down? We've already made the bearish cross. We're confirming that negative divergence. So this high, really all of this high, if I can grab the right tool, is a divergent high. Okay? Doesn't mean that doesn't mean we can't go higher. All it means is that we're losing momentum up here. And the former high, which was tested twice, there's resistance, or 3,554. We hit it again, failed, and we broke above. And pretty impulsive breakout too. But that breakout was with negative divergence. So breakouts that occur when you have negative divergence actually they have a higher probability of failing, which is what we have right now. No guarantees, but we do have a high probability. And so this is going to be your battleground right here. This is where they're going to try to hold it right in this area. If they can't hold it and you see that breakdown, then we got a bull trap. That would be a bull trap right here. And that tells me if we get that bull trap, and it actually does, you know, show us that it's a bull trap, we're going to head down to the bottom of the zone down here at 2935 and likely hit this trend line, the bigger trend line on the weekly, which is coming off, you know, the 2009, 2008 lows. This is your Great Recession lows. Support, and so I suspect if we get that bull trap, it's a big if because we don't see it yet, then we're gonna, you know, work our way down and hit that. All right. And obviously down here, if you break that, then we're, you know, bear market in Amazon would, you know, we'd be going into a longer term sustainable bear market, but that's way off in the distance. And even, you know, a breakdown from down there to there, 20%. So technically a bear market, but, or, you know, depending on when it hits. So that's what to watch on Amazon. Negative divergence, I'm looking for that breakdown. That's the key level right there. And that will likely have, you know, the Qs is likely going to do what this does. So big picture stuff, but also important. SQ. All right, there's a trade that I talked about for a while. So, you know, I think we're still going lower. You know, they put up a good fight, but, you know, they haven't won. The bulls have not won the battle. You have an uptrend line right here on SQ. So this is your upper channel. This is where you want to be bullish. All right, we're bouncing off support. Everything looks great. Happy times for everyone. But then you get the negative divergence right here starting to build. And it was building for a while. This is all divergent high. And then we broke trend line support right there. So we broke, kind of did a back test, but there's your full back test. And so far, no dice, right? Have not recovered that trend line. We're just continuing to get rejected. So as far as I can tell, down. Okay, that's what I see in that one. It's not going to look like that. I mean, I don't, you know, maybe it grinds lower. I don't know how it's going to look. But the other thing about downtrends that you have to realize is when the downtrend becomes obvious, that it becomes more impulsive. So maybe we work our way lower, hit this support, bounce, finally break, then it'll get impulsive, and then that'll be the end. You know, typically that's the end of the downtrend. So we'll look for that. That's all I see in that one right now. DraftKings, DKNG. This one, all right, so DraftKings, this is your support / resistance, 44.80. And then we also had this uptrend line. There's your uptrend line on DraftKings. 1, 2, 3. Impulsive breakdown, sell signal with negative divergence. Back test, fail, and then tried to back test and couldn't do it, and rolling over. So I think lower. Next level of support, 35.50. And then you've got a lot of support right in here, anywhere from 35.55 down to about 30.60. A good amount of support. You break that, should be a swift move down all the way down to $20. That's a ways down there, obviously. So I'm not anticipating that, you know. That's not likely, but there's always the potential. That's going to come in if we get bigger picture, you know, bigger picture items happening in the queues and all that. But I just look for those near-term levels. Yeah, I think lower on that one. Okay, what else you guys got? Well, AMC, the trade's already started. I shorted it up at like 65. I didn't really want to point that one out. I try not to get... If I get involved in these crazy momentum stocks, for one, it's with small position size. I just don't take large positions on these crazy momentum stocks. But what I did is I shorted it up here, basically. And we had this... We've got these support levels, but we've already started to break down. I think AMC's heading down. You know, you've got this former high right here, so likely going to hit that, 2062. We've got another level right here, about 1450. You can see we held support, or sorry, resistance, 2 reactions. So I think we're going to get down to that 1450. And, you know, you go beyond that, you've got another level all the way down here. This one's about, let me look here. Well, you have another level down here at about 940-ish. Maybe it's a little lower. I could be right about there, about $9. Obviously, it could go a lot lower, but those are the levels that I'm looking for. I'm still short this thing. Not a huge position, you know, for me. And I'm at least looking for that 14. It's about 1450. Yeah, right there. I'm looking for that. I think we're gonna get it. Look at all the, you know, look at the volume. You know, this is the thin zone, though. This is like the ramp up here where everybody was like, oh, it's going to the moon. Well, and then there's lots of trading in here. These people are all underwater. And if you look, you know, yeah, I mean, I think that I think you have a pretty swift move down to some of these levels is what I'm anticipating. Not a trade idea that I, you know, point out on the channel, though, just because it's just not, it's not conducive to a lot of swing trading, to the style of swing trading, you know. It's more gambling than anything. All right, what else do we got? And I'm gonna wrap up. We're gonna do one more, guys, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. So if I could just ask for a thumbs up if you haven't given me one, you know, I do appreciate that. I try to put in, you know, I try to give you guys value on the picks, so if you guys can just help the channel, it does help. And let me try to find one more stock pick. What would you guys like me to cover? I'm just kind of scanning through this stuff. All right, what do you guys got? Anything else? I see ATRK. Is that ARK? That's not ARK. What is it? What is that one? ATKR. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'll take a look at that one maybe, you know, separately, and if it's interesting, I'll put it out in a video. Disney, Costco, I don't know. What do you guys want to see? What sector do you guys want me to look at? You know, you want me to look at tech? Do you want me to look at financials, industrials? What is everyone interested in, you know, either long or short, you know? I like the financial short. I like the industrial short. I like tech short. At least I think I do. You know, I took a starter short on Qs on Friday, so need some confirmation on that. But I think we're going to get a correction in the market. Of course, you know, I don't, you know, I think it maybe just started, you know, just because tech broke, you know, tech just broke on Friday. So I think maybe it just started, but well, you know, we'll just watch the charts, you know, cover the trade. Energy, yeah, energy is interesting. Yeah, let's talk about energy. All right, because I'll cover the sector and then we'll look at some stocks. So this one, drip, I pointed this out in a video on, I don't know, Thursday or Wednesday maybe, talking about this as being a good long or a potential long, and so far so good. So you'll see here, this is that 3 times leverage ETF, or 2 times leverage. It's a bear ETF, so when energy falls, this thing goes up. So you just go long this if you think energy is going to fall. But again, bullish divergence. See the divergence right down here. So this is your divergent low. There's your downtrend. We broke trend right there. This was your buy signal right there. If you took that, even if you waited to the very end of the day, you'd be up 25% so far in just a matter of, you know, a week or so. This thing runs when it wants to run. Now it's at resistance, closed on Friday, pretty much at good resistance. So maybe we get a pullback here. But I think there's more to go, you know, so maybe you get the pullback, but I would be looking for this level, 1401, as maybe the final move higher in this. So far, so good, though. You can see it's just going vertical. And looking at energy, yeah, Fang broke. Well, yeah, that's why I shorted triple Qs. I shorted triple Qs, and I did cover that already. But it's a starter short. I took a starting short position, so maybe a full position for me. Maybe it's 400 shares or, you know, something like that. And, you know, I took 100 shares, I think is what I took on Friday. But I'm looking for more downside. I need confirmation, but I'll add to it as it goes. Energy, so XLE, this is kind of your energy. So yeah, this one's interesting. So here's the thing. Energy, XLE, we've got some support right there, and we closed Friday right on it. So we should bounce. We should bounce. This is where the buyer should be at. Maybe we get a little bounce, but clear negative divergence. See how there's your last divergent high right here. See the momentum dropping off. So we could extend this negative divergence. That's completely possible. Negative divergence is not a reason to short. I'd only want to short on a break of trend, but I'm kind of looking for it. And that's why the drip thing, you know, is working out. So, you know, maybe we bounce and put a new divergent high and then break. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I would say is look for that break of the trend line. And if we break levels to watch, 42, I think is a good level. That's a good level, really, right there. 42. I'd say that's one of the best levels. And then potentially 37.68 down there. But 42 is pretty solid. See the island cluster top was gapping around that. We also gapped. Look at that big gap right there. It probably even goes back even further if I could find it. But, yeah. So, yeah, down to 42, I would say would be a good, solid sell-off. If we start that sell-off, you know, that's a 13, 14% drop. I don't know. We could get more, but we'll see. And CrowdStrike. Okay, I'll do the last one's CrowdStrike, okay? Where did my chart go on that one? I thought I was covering this one in the past. Interesting. I guess I have to mark it up again. Nope. Don't like that. I don't like any of that. Let me see here. Maybe that. Clear negative divergence on the PPO. and the RSI. So there's a new divergent high right there. So here's what I'd be looking for. Probably got it on Friday. Yeah. Let's narrow it down on the hourly just to see what's up. Okay, so there's your last divergent high. Here's your hourly support all through here. And we broke. Breakdown. I think we're going lower. Look for, there's some support right here. So I would look for that level to be maybe your first area that you would bounce at. There's a gap down here too, but I suspect down here at about 227.62, that's a drop of another 8 or 9%. That'd be the first area we'd probably bounce. You have a little bit of a support shelf right here, and it's on it right now, so maybe we'll bounce tomorrow on Monday. Let me tighten that up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's on some support right here, so if this gives, then yeah, down there. And I think it will give, personally. But okay, that's all I got, guys. Appreciate the time. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out if you haven't done so. And then check out the trading course if you guys haven't done so. I know a lot of people have, so great. I hope that it's helpful. And if you haven't done so, check out the course. Link is in the description. I put it in the description of all my videos, so check that out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. See you on Monday. Bye.